Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Thuricians. In connection with the celebration of the Foundation Day, the 3P Club are organizing an alternative skills annually. But sadly, because of the pandemic, mass gatherings are prohibited. But it won't stop the objective of the 3P Club to provide new knowledge and skills. That's why, welcome to the annual Alternative Skills, and this year's Alternative Skills is tour guiding. And to formally start our program, we will have an opening prayer to be led by Miss Elaine Rose Gabasa and to be followed by the St. Therese hymn.
Let's bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this event so that we can enjoy and appreciate its significance in our lives. Bless everyone present today that each may be able to share what she or he has for your glory and honor. May the various activities related to this event be success through your intervention. We all ask of this in your name. Amen. And Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
We sing to you, St. Therese MTC colleges, where ideas, knowledge, and truth are held up high. Your motto, honor, and valor, we treasure them with pride. May your sons and daughters will always be loyal to you. Hail to you, dear alma mater. You brighten up the pathways of our future, singing and praising you with unending joy. St. Therese MTC colleges, we love you forevermore. We believe you are the way, the light for everybody, and kindle our minds towards reality, a reality of men searching for a meaning to develop it everywhere. Hail to you, dear alma mater, you brighten up the pathways of our future, singing and praising you with unending joy. St. Therese MTC colleges, we love you forevermore.
Thank you so much, Miss Elaine Rose. And to formally start our program, please welcome Miss Giselle Sormaco to give his opening remarks, the 3P Club President.
Good morning, everyone. I want to formally welcome you to Alternative Skills 2021 Tour Guiding Tutorial. I hope that after this event, you will learn something from us that you will use for your future endeavors. Last 2019, we had our fashion designing as our alternative skills, which is our speaker is Mr. Ram Silva, one of the designer of some celebrities, and now including Miss Rabia Mateo, our Miss Universe Philippines. And last year we had massage therapy, which is our speaker is Miss Pretty Camposano, and this year we will having tour guiding tutorial, and hopefully next year we will having our new alternative skills face to face. So sit back, relax, and be ready to listen to our new tour guiding skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Sormaco, for that warm, welcoming message. This year's Alternative Skills is about tour guiding skill. Tour guiding is the act of providing assistance, information on certain cultural, historical, and contemporary heritage to people on organized sightseeing or individual clients. So prepare your pens and papers because at this juncture, we will now have the tour guiding tutorial.
Hey there. If you, like me, have been wondering Where did all the hippies go? I mean, there was a lot of them around in the 60s, right? Well, recently I found out. In preparing this video on body language, I found them. They're on the ground, spelling things with their bodies. Things like joy, love, peace, tax the 1%, say no to coal, stop whaling, and the future is in your hands. Well, that's a relief. They're just a little bit older now, and they're putting their napping to good use. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here from Be a Better Guide, and today we're talking about how we as tour guides can use body language effectively to communicate that we're confident, capable, and that your guests have nothing to worry about with you in charge. Your posture and your position are going to be one of the first things that your guests notice, and we want to communicate confidence, but at the same time, make them feel at ease and comfortable with you. So let's dive right in with 6 tips on how we can use our body language more effectively. 1. Maintain eye contact with your audience. Eye contact is one of the most important elements of body language, no question. It shows respect and interest in your guests. So when speaking to your group, ideally you want to focus on individuals within the crowd. You'll spend 2 to 3 seconds making eye contact with someone here, and then move on to making eye contact with somebody here. And you kind of scan the crowd like this. Things that you don't want to do are fixating on one individual for a long period of time, because this can very quickly become awkward, and it makes other people feel excluded. And also, you don't want to be looking at the ground in front of your audience. When speaking, this can affect your projection, but also communicates a lack of confidence. 2. Keep an upright but relaxed posture. Whether you're sitting or standing, keep your back straight and your shoulders relaxed. Imagine someone lifting you up from the top of your head, and try and keep your chin about parallel to the floor. Now, this is just a guideline. If you're obviously taller or shorter, this can change a little bit, but this is a position that will make you appear most confident. Some things not to do are never ever turn your back to your audience. This is really, really common and a big mistake. Always be aware of your group, and if anyone kind of sneaks behind you, immediately reposition yourself so that everybody can see you. 3. Practice a firm handshake. In many cultures, the handshake is one of the more important nonverbal communication cues because it happens right at the introduction or at the beginning of our tour. Now, a firm handshake can give you instant credibility, while a weak handshake can make you appear fragile. So we want to avoid being too strong, crushing a person's hand. That's sometimes called the death grip. We also don't want to be too flaccid, right? Another common mistake is gripping the fingers too soon, so you're way out here like this. Honestly, the best thing that you can do is to ask for feedback on your handshakes. Go to your friends, your family, colleagues, and ask them how they would rate your handshake. Then practice with them and see where you fall on that scale. 4. Make affirmative movements and actions. You can show empathy when someone else is speaking to you as the guide by nodding your head and smiling at that person. These are nonverbal cues that would fall into the category of active listening, but a really important body language when you work with people quite a bit. Now, this instantly communicates that you are engaged, that you're listening, you're interested in what they've got to say. Some things you want to avoid doing are looking over the shoulders of the person that's speaking. This is like an instant sign of disrespect. Secondly, pulling out your phone while someone is talking and you're listening. Leave the phone in your pocket. And lastly, avoid multitasking in your head, because there's a lot of sort of subconscious things that get expressed through our faces, through our eyes and mouth, that the people very often pick up the fact that you're not listening that closely. 5. Emphasize words with your hands. Talking with your hands and using gestures makes you a much more effective communicator. All of us could probably use more practice on being more intentional with our hand gestures. In fact, it was such an important topic that we made an entirely separate Be a Better Guide video on the exact types of gestures that you can use. But just know that using your hands makes you appear more assured and confident. Some things not to do. Don't keep your arms locked to your side, as this can kind of make you appear nervous, a little bit stressed sometimes too. And avoid these sort of a dance party, we'll call it. These sort of excessive or random hand movements will just distract your audience. Now, if you'd like more information on some specific hand gestures you can use, check out our video, What to Do with Our Hands When We're Speaking. 6. Mind your movement. Most of the time, you should stand confidently in one place versus sort of pacing or wandering aimlessly. If you do need to move, it should probably be for a purpose, like maybe to go over and point something out, or maybe to walk to the front of the group and lead them to the next stage of the tour. Some other things we want to avoid are shifting our weight from one foot to the other. Ideally, we're balanced between the two. Secondly, we want to avoid fidgeting, right? You know, I was really bad at this, honestly. If I ever had anything in my hand, I would be playing with it. Sometimes I would wring my hands like this. Sometimes the best thing to do is just take things out of your hands so there's nothing there for you to fidget with. And lastly, avoid any sort of overly robotic gestures that seem really forced. All of your movements should seem very natural and sort of flow. Now, we covered a lot really quickly, but because this is such an important topic, we wanted to offer you a little bit more. So we went out into the web and we researched the best body language experts that we could find and put together 5 of our favorite instructional videos. Now, these are awesome. In these videos, these experts are going to give you some extra tips. They're going to show you how to use your body language to be a more effective leader. And you can get access to all 5 of those videos in the PDF download below. But before you go, we'd love to hear from you. What advice do you have for using body language on tour? Were there some maybe mistakes that you made in the past that you corrected, or other advice for new tour leaders who are out there getting started? Thanks so much for being here. Please pass this video along to anyone you think might find it useful, and we'll see you next time. I just spent a couple moments looking up jokes relating to body language, and there are none. So I figured we'd just end on an awkward pause. Yeah, it should do it.
And for further explanation, here's an intermission number from Miss Alexandria Tabligan during the tour guiding act.
Finally, we have arrived at our first destination. Luckily, the weather is on our side today, and I am very pleased to offer you a warm welcome here at Fort San Pedro, or better known as Fort Nuestra Señora del Rosario, located along in San Pedro Drive in the domestic area. Did you know, tourists, why this fort was built? It is to protect the city from invaders that threatened Iloilo, such as Dutch and Moro pirates. If you look around, my dear tourists, a park has replaced the historic fort with a statue of Christ marking the spot where it once existed. And now Fort San Pedro serves as a favorite spot for watching the sunset, spending time with family and friends, and of course, eating local seafood delicacies. And that's for our Fort San Pedro, and we are now heading to our next destination. And I am truly delighted to introduce to you the Linay sang Iloilo. This is an 18-foot bronze statue weighing 1.7 tons. So imagine how heavy would that be, tourists. So this presently stands atop the dome of the new City Hall. It was commissioned after Mayor Mabilog's visit at Washington, D.C., where he was able to gaze in admiration to the iconic Lady of Freedom, a bronze statue that stands atop the Washington Capitol. So Linay is a Hiligaynon term for muse, and she is wearing a traditional bandana, usually worn by farm ladies to protect them from the heat of the sun, while on her neck, she wears an ethnic necklace, a symbolic of her ancestry, as she comes from a rich Matic past and a long line of heroic statues that people the island of Panay. Her right arm cradles harvested rice, while her left hand holds a scythe or garak, both a symbol of prosperity. And she is wearing an embroidered dress, and on the top of it is a sablay or hablon. And if you can notice, my dear tourists, the whole figure of our Linay is highlighted by patadyong, a hand-woven wrap-around skirt, which is no other province is better known for than Iloilo. And our Linay is standing on pedestal with 4 sides carved the 4 major assets of Iloilo, namely rice, sugarcane, and fishing industry, and of course, education, since Iloilo is considered to be the educational center of Visayas and Mindanao. And that's the end of our tour for today, tourists. and I hope that everyone had a great time. And I can't wait to see you again. Please remember to be physically distant but socially intact. This has been your Guapang tour guide, Alex, saying, safety first, travel second.
Oh, nice! Thank you so much, Miss Tabligan, for sharing us your tour guiding talent. At this point, we will now have another tour guiding tutorial.
Hi there, Kelsey here from Be a Better Guide. Now in this video, we're going to talk about the laugh method, and it's a perfect way for handling upset customers or frustrated guests. But quite naturally, it makes sense to begin with a laugh. So here's a video that I took just the other day of a squirrel jumping into a mirror. Now, no squirrels were harmed in the making of this video. He's fine. He's just a little confused. Let's get started. As tour and activity operators, we all know that dealing with and sort of managing frustrated, upset, and even disappointed guests can be one of the hardest parts of our job. So today, I'd like to share one of the most practical and down-to-earth tools that can really help us get through these situations. It's called the laugh method, and it's been around for decades, and the original source is unclear. Now, it may seem a little cheesy, as acronyms can sometimes be, but I just want to reassure you that this is a method that I have actually used over and over hundreds of times on tour, and it's one of the first things that I coach new guides during a training program. So let's take a look. The word laugh is an acronym comprising of the 5 recommended steps when facing tough clients or upset guests. L is for listen, A, acknowledge, U, understand, G, give solutions, and H, hit home. But take note, the order is extremely important here, and it's actually where many tour leaders mess this up. Let's begin with L, listen. You probably know from your own experience that when you're upset or angry, you have a story to tell. Keep this in mind as upset customers want to tell their story and know that they're being heard. Listening means standing there quietly and letting the other person talk without interruption. Now, a lot of time, our natural response is to jump right in and maybe be defensive if they're being a bit accusatory, or offer solutions right away or get to corrections, but avoid this temptation. You can ask questions, of course, to learn more, but not to get defensive or challenge them at this stage. Listening. It sounds simple, but believe me, this step is a lot harder than you might think. The second step is A, acknowledge what has happened. This step is critical, and most people skip right over it. We listen, but we don't take the time to acknowledge what has happened. A guest is complaining because they felt they've been wronged in some way or an expectation hasn't been met. And they're looking for acknowledgement that this has happened. They're looking probably for a sincere apology and also some commitment from you to make things right. So the solution to any problem, whether major or minor, should begin with acknowledging what has happened and offering a sincere apology. We often think that I'm sorry implies guilt or wrongdoing, or that I've screwed up in some way, but it really doesn't necessarily imply you're wrongdoing. Think of the way that we use I'm sorry when we hear someone's grandmother has passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. That's the type of way we want to use I'm sorry. And unless you actually hit that person's grandmother with a car, when you say I'm sorry, guilt is not implied. In this step, use language like, I'm so sorry to hear that. That must have been really frustrating. Or, I hear you. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm so sorry to see you upset by this. This was not the plan. Or, thank you for bringing this to my attention. Let's see how we can fix this. The third step is you. Understand the problem or problems. One of the most powerful ways to calm an irate guest, somebody who's really, really upset, is to show that you truly understand what they're saying, right? What is making them upset? Think of all the times that you've been really upset, and when somebody finally seems to have a full grasp of the situation that you're in, that can be very soothing and allows us to move on to fixing the problem, right? So once we've listened and acknowledged, we can now ask a few probing questions to try and find out what the really sort of core issue is that's making the person upset. Here are some examples of great probing questions. When did this issue arise? What exactly was promised to you? Any idea as to why this might have happened, and how can we make this right? One of the least effective things that we can do is solve the wrong problem. And this happens quite often. If there's an easy solution or we're quick to jump to something, we may be fixing the wrong thing. So take the time to fully understand why your guest is upset. And as a hint, it may not be the initial thing that they brought up. It might be something that's underlying that a sense of being wronged in some way, that something unfair happened, they felt disrespected. And that might be the core issue that we need to fix. Step 4 is G, give solutions. Let's just first appreciate that actually solving the problem is the 4th step. 4th! Isn't that crazy? I mean, our natural inclination is to rush in and fix the problem right away. Make this awkward situation go away as quickly as possible. I know I've been there. But we do not want to do that. We want to resist that urge to jump right in before we've listened, acknowledged, and understood what's going on. At this stage, it's also common when we're giving solutions to bring up a lot of excuses or explanations of why this whole situation has happened. But let me tell you, your guests are not interested in hearing about your company problems or who's actually to blame. Avoid talking in those terms and really focus on how we can fix their problem. Once again, your language is key. Here's some example phrases that work really well. What can we do to resolve this? We could talk to the office right now, or if it's okay with you, perhaps we could talk to them after the tour. I will personally find the answer to your question and get back to you in the next 15 minutes. We would be happy to offer you a refund, or if you prefer, credit towards another tour. Here's some phrases that should be avoided. The only thing I can do is, it's not our policy to, you have to talk to, I can't, and no, there's no way. Try and find other ways of communicating that don't use this kind of negative phrasing. Just as important as fixing the guest problem is involving them in coming up with a solution. So give options, have it be a dialogue, and empower them to participate in coming up with a solution to their problem. They're going to be a lot more satisfied with the outcome if you use this process. The 5th and final step is H, hit home. Now, hitting home simply means making 100% sure that both the problem and your customer or guest have been fixed, so to speak. It simply means following up after a solution has been put in place to make sure that they're satisfied with the outcome. Because as we mentioned, you may have fixed the wrong problem, or there might be something else that the guest is upset about. This can mean connecting later on the same tour, but oftentimes it can be done by following up by email or by phone after a tour has taken place. Here are some examples of hitting home. Hey Steve, I just wanted to follow up regarding our conversation this morning. Are you satisfied with the outcome? Is there anything else we can help with at this time? Or, this is Kelsey Toner at XYZ Tours. I just wanted to give you a quick call to check that the refund went through and to re-emphasize how sorry we are for letting you down. Please let us know if there's anything else we can do, and we do hope that you'll give us another chance. This is another step that is often overlooked or people just don't do. This extra care and attention that you take to follow up will impress even your most frustrated of guests. So to quickly recap, when faced with an angry or upset guest, first listen, then acknowledge, understand, give solutions, and hit home. I know this sounds simple, but if you're anything like me, this will actually take quite a bit of practice to get right. So use the laugh method in both your professional life, but in your personal life as well. It is really, really effective. But be disciplined to make sure you're doing all of the steps and to make sure you're doing them in the right order. So to help you with this, I've created a one-page PDF, a cheat sheet basically for the laugh method, which you can print out and use as much as you like. You can grab that using the link below. That would be a huge service to myself and to the whole Be a Better Guide project if you could take a moment to share this video with friends, with colleagues, and fellow tour leaders. It would be much appreciated. As well, before you go, I'd love to hear in the comments below, what strategies and tips do you have for managing upset customers? Please share them with the rest of the community. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. I suppose you're up for another quick laugh before you go, and what better way, really, than through animal videos? So I didn't actually film this video, but I want you to see if you can guess what's about to happen to this cat.
And here is another intermission number from Mr. Mark Villanueva.
Good morning, my dear tourists. This is your Totoy Bibong tour guide Kim, here to guide you for a better and safer travel adventure. And where's the better place to start your travel experience than here at the amazing City of Love? Here in Iloilo, we take your comfort and safety very seriously. I will be reminding you with the safety rules and precautions along the way. And I make sure that this will not stop us in making our experience the best one yet. So are you now ready? That's great! But before anything else, I would like you to remember the word safe. It's S-A-F-E, safe. S for social distancing. A for alcohol. F for your face shield and face mask. And E is for to enjoy, enjoy, and enjoy. I already given up the leaflets for our tour itinerary, which includes the comfort rooms and the sanitizing point details. And we will have an ample time to enjoy each destination. But please, my dear tourists, subject yourselves for all of the establishments' required protocol. And when you hear the sound, that means that we have to move on to our next destination. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand because I am very much glad to answer your lovely concerns. And to bring us to our destination is our driver, Mang Tino. Hi there, Mang Tino. All right, now let's do the head count. 5, 10, 15, 20. We are all 20 here. I will not make these too long. Mang Tino, bring us to our first destination. Today, my dear tourists, we are all about to experience two of the most vibrant festivals in the Philippines. Starting off is the Viva Viva Señor Santo Niño Ta Dagyang Ta, the Dinagyang Festival. It is a famous religious and cultural activities celebrated every fourth Sunday of January. Dinagyang Festival voted as the best tourism event 3 times in a row among of all the festivals in the country. Dinagyang Festival, regarded as the world-class festival and dubbed as the queen of all festivals in the Philippines. It traced the history of devotion to the Holy Child Jesus, popularly known to the Filipino devotees as Señor Santo Niño. The first major event of this festival is the Ati Tribe competition. Consists of a huge number of warrior dancers in each tribe, chanting to the loud sound of drum beats, waking up the whole city of Iloilo. It is the time of the year when Iloilo City is most alive. Tourists from other country and even the world flocks to discover the beautiful and dazzling Dinagyang Festival. Mang Tino, bring us to our second destination. Today, my dear tourists, our second destination is one of the major festivals in Iloilo City, the Parao Regatta Festival. It is a 36.5-kilometer race among of all the native outriggers. It was inspired by the history way back 1212 AD. Celebrated every second week of February annually. Parao Regatta, regarded as the oldest traditional craft event in Asia and the largest sailing event in the Philippines. But wait, there's more. In 2009, Parao Regatta received a recognition as the best tourism sports in the country. Imagine, well, etymologically, Parao in our own tongue means sailing boat. A native sailing boat going to the island of Panay, the first Bornean settler looking for a peaceful home. Through the years, Parao Regattas blossom from a one-day activity into a one-week-long celebration spiced up with the different cultural events in the Philippines. I guess this is all for today, my dear tourists. This has been your Totoy Bibong Tour Guide Kim, looking forward for more of our better and safer travel adventure. Always remember, it is never impossible to travel the world, engage with the beautiful creations, and be safe at the same time. See you soon because this is not goodbye.
Great! Thank you so much, Mr. Mark Villanueva, for sharing us your tour guiding performance. And that covers the program sequence. I hope that you have learned something. At this point, our Trippy Club advisor will be giving her closing remarks.
Good morning, everyone, and on behalf of Passionate for People and Places, I would like to thank you all for joining us today on our Club Alternative Skills Seminar Tour Guiding Tutorial. We have been doing this alternative skills every year for the past years, and it has really become a tradition so that we would be able to give all Thuricians extra life skills that they would use so that they would have better opportunities in the future. We hope that what you have learned today you would be able to use in order to improve your amazing talents. And we wish that you have enjoyed your time with us today, because we have definitely enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you so much, everyone, and always remember to dream high and reach the mark.
All right, thank you very much, Mom Cherry, and thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. We hope that we have instilled new knowledge and skills to each and every one of you. This has been May Ondilio, and on behalf of the Passionate for People and Places, we say, dream high and reach the mark.